It's great to see you again back at EFA. And I wondered whether you could just tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your son.
My name is Ambrosia Berg. I'm a single mother who has put herself through college as a first-generation student while raising my son Isaiah. It's definitely had its ups and downs, but I have pushed through not only the obstacles of college, but also as a non-traditional student. Being able to find the resources to help provide for my family has helped me be able to connect other families in similar situations to mine to resources. Identifying as a member of the LGBTQ community while being an individual with disabilities has impacted not only my day-to-day life, but also my participation that I have within my community. And I have been a member of the Participant Advisory Council with EFA, which is the Emergency Family Assistance Association of Boulder, since the beginning. And that has given me an opportunity to actually create change in our local community that helps the diversity of our community prosper. And I've worked through all of my life's challenges thus far through my motivation and determination, as well as perseverance and strength. I have made it this far, and I don't foresee me not making it much further.
I don't have much doubt about that. When we were together the last time, we talked about the expansion of the child tax credit, moving it from $2,000 to $3,000 and having it paid out on a monthly basis and making sure that the poorest kids had access to it because we were making it fully refundable. I just wonder if you could tell people a little bit about what difference you think that might make for you and for the other people that you work with and advocate for in Boulder.
Well, I know that from a personal experience, I know that families living in poverty already face so many challenges. So for me, the expansion of the child tax credit means that my family will have more of a stepping stone to get ahead in a just getting by world, because that's what we're in right now, is trying to get by and keep on moving forward. And that's what it would help me do. Getting a monthly payment would help me with the day-to-day needs and other families with their day-to-day needs. It would help me provide the essentials like food, housing, and reliable transportation, while also helping me maintain a nurturing environment for my son to develop into a successful member of the community, which to me is one of the most important things being a single parent, is helping my son prosper and become a good citizen within this world and be able to help those like I've done many times throughout my life. So it would mean that I have a little bit more resources and more of a step to get ahead. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Please go ahead.
So I wanted to know what inspired you to take action on the expansion of the child tax credit, and how do you see this expansion benefit the community?
Well, I first got interested in the idea of doing something about childhood poverty when I was superintendent of the Denver Public Schools, where the district, the majority of kids are kids living in poverty. And no matter how hard their families worked, they didn't seem to be able to get their kids out of poverty. And they were working incredibly hard, some of them working 2 and 3 jobs. And yet they just couldn't get their kids above the poverty line. And as I've traveled the state of Colorado the last 10 or 11 years, it's become obvious to me that most people can't support their families, and if I had to add it all up, it's people saying, Michael, we're working really hard, but no matter what we do, we can't afford some combination of housing, even if we could find housing, healthcare, higher education, or early childhood education or childcare, so I can work. And people say I can't save. I feel like my kids are going to live a harder life than I lived, and I actually feel like I'm already living a harder life than my parents lived. And that is the reflection of an economy that for 50 years has been a just getting by economy for most Americans. For 50 years, when the economy's grown, it's grown for the people at the very top, but it hasn't grown for anybody else. And in fact, at a lot of periods of economic growth, it's been a recession, which is why we have the highest, income inequality that we've had since 1928. We've got some of the lowest economic mobility in the industrialized world, which means no matter how hard you work, you can't move up the ladder, and for too many people. And the thing that really, discourages me is that we've got among the highest childhood poverty rates of any country in the industrialized world. And if you ask who is the poorest population of Americans, the answer to that question is our children. So I saw this as something that we shouldn't accept as a permanent feature of our economy. And I learned about the proposed changes to the childhood tax credit that some policy folks had been working on and wrote them into legislation in 2015. And now I'm very pleased that Joe Biden has included it in the plan that he's announcing tonight, but he's only included it through 2025. And you and I were together when I was saying, I think we need to make this permanent, and I believe we do need to make it permanent. I don't want to take a chance that in 2025 somehow it doesn't stay in place, and then all of a sudden half the kids in America that have been taken out of poverty find themselves back in poverty. So that's a little bit of why I've been working on this for so long. But Ambrosia, thank you for, by the way, being my virtual guest at the President's speech tonight. I really appreciate your making time. What do you hope he says? What do you hope to hear?
Personally, I want to hear that positive change is on the way, honestly. One of the things I really do want to hear more about is opportunities for these different misrepresented and underrepresented communities to not only have their voices heard and their stories heard, but also to help have a solid helping hand towards self-sufficiency. One way that could happen is making the child tax credit permanent. That way we can get more children out of poverty and help families be more successful in life and get further. This change would help families build a strong, solid foundation and open more doors for success of future generations. And I would love to see that it's more permanent. As a single mother, it has been very difficult raising my child and being able to, it's especially financially. It's been one of the most challenging things I could have imagined in my life, but I have always been able to make it with the resources I have, and then looking into furthers. So this is another resource that would be available long-term for families so that we can do better than just getting by, because it's better to have that prosper and that longevity of success rather than the short-term 2025 to get families by, because we need our kids are young right now, but they're going to be 18 before we know it, and that time frame is so permanent in their permanent in their lives that we have to help them grow. And finances definitely help us as parents help our kids grow and learn a little bit more about the world and be successful in the world.
I think that sounds pretty good. I mean, I think that what we've got to have in this economy again, or in this country again, is an economy that when it grows for everybody, and that people really have opportunity to, as you said, to create opportunity for their kids, create opportunity for themselves, and to have hope that things are going to improve and get better. And there's no reason we can't do that. We've spent a lot of time over the last 20 or 30 years making some really bad choices, like spending 20 years in 2 wars in the Middle East, or cutting taxes for the wealthiest people in America when they need at least. And what we have not done is invest in our own people or invest in our infrastructure here. And so I think I want to hear what you want to hear as well. Plus, I think that having a very substantial investment in our physical infrastructure, our roads and bridges and broadband and other kinds of things, look at what the conversation we're having now is a little bit difficult because the connectivity issues. I mean, we know in this pandemic that we weren't well prepared for it, and that is a result of the lack of investment that we've made. So I think what I hope we hear from Joe Biden is that we're turning our attention to the American people and to our human infrastructure and our physical infrastructure, and then we can start investing here again to create opportunity for every single American. So anybody who's, like you, is working hard can find a way to provide for their family. And he's got a chance to unify us tonight, and I hope that's what he does. Where are you
I
going to
do.
watch it from?
I'm going to be at EFAA to watch it and to be there virtually.
Well, will you say hi to everybody for me? And
I'm definitely
I really enjoyed the visit, and I have carried your stories with me since we had our first conversation, and it's incredibly. I can't tell you what it means to me to be able to put a name and a face on the policies that we're trying to fight for here to make life just a little bit better for people. And I appreciate your taking the time.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here with you and to be your guest tonight. It definitely feels very much of a, I guess, just showing how much I have done, and just being who I am helps me understand a little bit more,
Well, your advocacy has been so important, I know, to the people that you're working with, and this is a small recognition of that, and I'm very grateful. So